What's up, everyone? Last match of our Stage 1 group stage is upon us. I would love to use transitive properties for this one, but they both suffered a 3-0 loss against the students of the game, and they both played Beluga Splatoon 3-1. So what other magical formulas do we have
Maybe we just
to make a
ended in a
prediction
tie.
here?
It's just an infinitely long match.
Yeah.
Love the transitive property. I actually love it. Because when you don't have a long list of results, just use that. Be all right. We can't use it here, which means these two teams are going to fight. We won't just give them a draw. They'll fight to a draw. They will draw Escort. That is how closely locked they are based on that. Great to see Onion back, of course, for CNYXL.
Yeah.
And again, this Dreamland squad dropped one map to Beluga Platoon, like Zoe pointed out. I'm looking forward to see what they have for us here. Do feel like Pirates in Pajamas looked pretty darn good on multiple occasions here. Again, this is an elimination match, probably one of our last ones, right? So it's really now or never.
Yeah, and this is some clips from Dreamland. I believe this is against students of the game. But you see how different this is, what they're playing against. And now as we move forward and we look at some clips here of Pirates in Pajamas, right? Magic Maple, we talked about, the Lucio play the other day. Really fantastic.
Chronic. How can I make that a K? I don't know. Anyway, Chronic on that Sombra, also a huge game changer for them. I think it was a big playmaker. Really, really great EMPs.
Yeah, look, this team, I think, have a pretty good handle on like how to play this Maga comp, but we've seen quite a few teams mix it up a fair bit, right? Where it's got to be Sigma, where it's got to be, maybe Orisa. They used to have that option. Chronic definitely a standout player, especially on that Lijiang Tower matchup. Again, a team that really had a good understanding, I think, of how to win in the mirror or how to make small changes at DPS to give them the advantage. That Beluga's Platoon game, I think, was pretty telling for me. It was, again, a 3-1, so they do falter at one point in that series, but again, here against Dreamland, they want to lock them out. They want to get out of this group. And again, I mean, this group, much harder to call than some of the others we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Students of the game, like, well and truly above and beyond, but honestly, like, these two teams, really hard to separate them. So a compelling matchup in that there's no clear favorite, I would say, coming into it.
Yeah, and we'll probably see Chronic play that Sombra yet again, like we did yesterday. I'm curious what we see from Dreamland's, like, Maga based. I mean, there's going to be like, we were joking a little bit in the break today. It's just kind of like Maga Wars for NA, it feels like. But what they decide to combo with it. So Reaper setup. So potentially, Reaper with a Sombra in the mix. So we'll see what Pirates in Pajamas decide to do on their side.
Yeah, it just feels really reasonable, right? Especially, Garden, not really the map type where you necessarily get your max value from the mate anyway.
What would you think about the Kariko? Yeah, what do you think about that? Kariko versus the Coalescence.
The haste buff. The haste buff is pretty disgusting for your Maga especially, and the Reaper. I think that like any comp that features like Reaper, Kitsune Rush is really, really powerful. So I like that, trying to supercharge the Reaper Maga setup. Astronex and Strider respectively taking a bunch of damage here. We obviously have our initial cooldowns traded. A good focus though on towards Ryan. That is going to make it hard for Dreamland to put any pressure on Strider and co. And this gives them a positional advantage.
I think the Moira is just like, talking about Moira versus Kariko, I think it's just like a little bit safer. Like, I know the be able to fade out, like the healing output's really good. You have the orbs you can just kind of throw out. This will be Dreamland taking this first fight. They backed out a little bit. Looks like actually Pirates in Pajamas was getting kind of the advantage in terms of the poke at range, right? I know Chronic doing a nice job building up that EMP. Dreamland just bounces back a little bit, after getting all healed up and ends up taking that fight.
Well, Astronex charged, and Strider thought he'd take the opportunity to drive a wedge between the Maga and the rest of Dreamland, but then takes the combined damage from 4 players, and I don't think really has the ability to heal through that with a cardiac overdrive. So you're a little ahead of yourself against this high burst damage comp. Here's an EMP though. That is absolutely superb. That's beautiful.
Yeah, double EMP. I think the difference is Divinity doesn't get hit by it, ends up using the Coalescence, and he's not able to get that ultimate off, and that allows Pirates in Pajamas to come back with a really fast fight win. But I would say you have now the Coalescence here for Dreamland. Just get aggressive behind that and a speed boost, and you can see them flip it right back.
Yeah, no reason not to do that. You need to make the use of this window as soon as possible. Not a lot of delay here. All of Dreamland just getting grouped up, and here they go. Here's the call from Anion. She will lead the charge now and make sure Astronex benefits from that as much as possible, but there's a sound barrier online here for Magic 8-Ball. Grapes holds it until now. Great time to let that one go, and there's no way Strider was getting out, even with the cage match. Not a chance. Such a powerful ultimate that has reset the entire server. You love to see that. You love to see that. I mean, that's it. I've seen everything. I've seen all I need to see. Let's just go to the next round. Dreamland, are they going to the main event?
Maga put that first point inside of cage match. I was like, oh, this is odd that Astronex is just shooting at the ground. I was like, that's a new maneuver. Because typically, you know, you shoot a body, right? But there were no bodies there to be shot. So Astronex just shooting at the ground, typically not the play. So that one though.
Oh yeah, what do you think? What do you think happened? Genius?
Maga, man. Maga.
Yeah, when you mog a little too hard and break the server.
That's the ability you were talking about earlier. It's cardiac arrest, where Maga uses his cardiac arrest and resets the lobby.
Server's on track. Someone get the defibrillator paddles out for the server. My goodness. The best part is, you know what my favorite part of that is?
What?
We just get put on camera and we're expected to know what actually happened there. I don't know what happened there. Either way, it looks like probably a server crash. So this probably means we have to. I don't know if we have the architecture to like recapture the game state again. We might have to restart the map.
I mean,
the map.
Yeah, this is huge. They now have an idea of what the other team is going to play compositionally. I'm kidding. No, they knew.
Damn, that info goes a heck of a long way.
I think they were also like reasonably close. My dog? You see there, he's trying to go towards the door. He's having some issues there. What's going on, Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, you need to let him out or what? What's going on? You know.
No, I think he hears something.
I see.
I think he's just hearing things.
Why don't you go get the door while we take a quick break?
He's over it now.
And I see how many times I can bang my head onto my table before we come back. I'm pretty quick at it though, trust me. Yeah. All right, stick around, everyone. We'll be back real soon with more OWCS here. It's our last match of the day, another elimination match, a win and in for either Pirates of Pajamas or Dreamland to the main event. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Enemy in sight.
Our victory is at hand. Ashes to ashes. Die, die, die.
Let's get you back out there. Maintaining connection.
I'm getting readings of cosmic disturbance in these ruins. Moira, prioritize our people, not your cosmic experiments. That's an order.
Accept my gifts, and all will be yours. Your ally has descended into darkness.
Our group energy is interesting. Very interesting.
Check this out.
Methinks a Cupid I shall play.
What are you looking at? Keep moving forward.
Best of luck to you all.
And we are back again. As you may or may not have noticed, that there was an abrupt ending to that very last map we got to see. And
I didn't see nothing.
You saw nothing. We will be restarting it, of course, as things just got a little too heated. You know.
Yeah, look, all these magas running around, beating their chests. I don't blame the servers for PP
There,
overheating.
match.
Nah.
I said too heated.
Match, I see. Yeah, you're a little too close to my liking, man. How about you scooch over there,
Hey.
buddy? How about you get a different box?
I'm not really good at lighting matches, but with that circumference of that head on top with yours, I think I can light that.
Damn, bro. What are you
That's a lot of area for me to strike a light.
And I reckon your head is actually like proportionally bigger than mine. They might have had to scale it up to match, but in that picture, you got a fat
I
head.
think so.
You got a dome. You bobblehead looking.
I saw you post those before and after pics. I was like, man, the only thing I think is grown is his head. Bigger. I mean,
Your boy a little dicey, all right? Yeah, Matt at Orange Theory could never.
nah.
I mean, Matt, before he got married, credit to him, went out there, tried to get some gains. Like, he really went for it. He looked pretty good after it. And then he let himself go. He let himself go.
And now we're on the revenge tour, right? Summer 24 revenge tour. We're
Revenge
so back.
for what? Revenge against the cannoli taking their toll on your physique, bro?
Yeah, sure. Revenge against the Uber Eats orders when we were in lockdown.
It's tough out there, you know what I mean? With all these, spending all my day with Malga, you know, it's tough
What
to
do you
find
think
the
they're
time.
gonna play here?
I reckon they're gonna play Malga, actually. Malga Tracer.
Yeah.
I reckon these teams might have.
Wait, what?
These teams might have seen each other before. Yeah, Malga Tracer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that would be wrong. They're both going to play Sombra. And interesting enough, you know, obviously before the reset, Dreamland like backed out at the start and then got a nice advantage, then pushed in. Pirates and Pajamas won the next fight. So now naturally you see Pirates and Pajamas, they drop quite low here, taking a lot of damage around that pillar. They're going to have to back up, get Strider healed up before they challenge point.
Yeah, Moira Miri here, so that heal pressure is important. Moira cannot just left click for the rest of eternity. She will eventually run out of healing resources under this kind of pressure, especially when there's no cardiac overdrive available. So even chip damage can be important in some windows. Not this one though. Not while these Malgas are glowing like that. Here's that EMP though. Chronic and Chime both go for it here. Chime and Annie, though, are going to be the first to fall here. Did Chime? No. Surely they didn't get shut down during that animation. Those EMPs came pretty close together.
And Magic 8-Ball ended up getting the sound barrier down as well, which is like the huge difference in the fight, right? Grapes, I don't think had it at the time. When the fight kicked off, Magic 8-Ball did. So that is actually a quite long first engagement that Pirates and Pajamas comes out on top.
Big difference maker there. Yes, Dreamland had both of those ultimates for the next fight. Sure. They're going to need them against the Death Blossom. Coalescence will be up here for Divinity. How do you turn that one fire win into lobster percentage? That's a real question. Can you stall things out a little bit? Pirates in Pajamas don't want to play slow, but they get grapes for free. Who had the Death Blossom still? That is dangerous. Magic Maple now threatens to lap them. That basically means you got a free fight, a free sound barrier.
Yeah, and I actually think that Dreamland was a little bit surprised that Pirates in Pajamas got quite aggressive around that Coalescence. Strider around the corner with a big slam. Sets up a kill from Stone. I think he's just going to have to wait after that.
That's a huge error. Look at Magic Maple. He's going to get there in this next fight. So that beat advantage you gain from getting pummeled in the first fight is gone. Great EMP though by Chime. That is perfect. You hit Chronic first. You make sure Sombra's going to be caught inside that. Magic Maple, I guess, because it's free? Virtually? Commits the sound barrier here. The problem is
definitely not.
Does Grapes even need to beat there? I wonder. May as well get rid of it at some point.
Yeah, I think just to, as a safety and then also to kind of like reline them up with each other, right? You're in this really kind of like offset nature in terms of ultimates where Dreamland now kind of finds themselves a little bit closer in terms of those ultimates. So Pirates in Pajamas does get 65% here on the point. We'll see how they go about trying to attack this, whether it's like over the bridge or here, taking the white room.
Yeah, Chronic can just wrap around and throw that EMP in. That really should be your free fire starter here. Divinity's been able to build up another Coalescence here, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. It'll come out first, though. Doesn't get anything. Cole from Anian, do you shut this down with an EMP? Chronic's still holding onto it. Still biding his time.
I think you wait. Yeah, I think you wait. Now's the time to go.
And it hits real hard. Malga charge in from Astronex. No good targets to choose from, though. No one's low enough, and there's no teammates to help you push that damage over. Pirates in Pajamas get it back. And gotta be feeling pretty good about verging on another sound barrier while they're already ahead.
But they just keep like trading off with these EMPs, right? Now Dreamland will come back. EMP Death Blossom of their own. Like, what is the counterplay here for Pirates in Pajamas? Is it like, I know maybe the sound barrier can go off, but I mean, look at this. I mean, that is an EMP plus Death Blossom right away, and the point will flip.
Quite worthwhile, I think, to go for that. Chime really just trying to preempt. There was a question of whether Magic Maple would just play around the EMP, don't get hit by it, and then drop the beat. But losing Stone so early in that fight, there's absolutely no reason to do so. Pirates in Pajamas, they're still kind of happy to take that exchange, I feel. Now, they're definitely favored. They can get into position.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they can get into a great position, right? You take so much burst damage sometimes coming across here. It'd be difficult to live. As looks like Dreamland going to back up, almost going to give them control of the point, or at least to what it looks like. Maybe you're trying to farm up an ultimate, but no, it's going to be sound barriers from both sides.
Later beat here for PIP though, and Stone is looking to surge ahead. Great damage on Ryan without having to use the Death Blossom here. That forces an early Wraith Walk, but Strider falls. Ryan comes back from the shadows with a vengeance, and Stone's not in a great position to get coverage in the Blossom. He'll at least get Ryan. That's a trade, but you are Malga down, and you need to equalize that deficit. Eventually, Stone does. Astronex is toppled now. Pirates in Pajamas haven't flipped the point back yet, so this one might go to a bit of a stall at the end of the round. There is time for Dreamland to return. Strider wasting no time getting back in position.
Ananian falls, though, as Ryan goes over to the high ground, TP's on through, gets stuck in a cage fight as, what is that, Chime will get on and get a touch. So, looks like pretty close round number one, but Pirates in Pajamas comes out on top.
You have to feel these teams are pretty evenly matched. When you have mirrored compositions and gameplay like this, where like fundamentally there doesn't seem to be too much of a gulf between these rosters, so much comes down to timing and old economy. I really think that, you know, Pirates in Pajamas get a huge lead by just punishing Grapes. You know, Magic 8 Ball builds 2 beats before Grapes uses their first. That is massive.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these fights, especially with this mirror, it's going to be like, I know, ult cycling and who kind of, you know, has what. We saw like in the last series, right? Like it was a sound barrier that came out against M80 that I think was from Jacob on the other team that, like, you know, maybe wasn't at the right time, and then, you know, it's huge snowball the other way, right? I think it's, especially with this real even matchup in terms of composition, it's going to be huge.
What is it exactly that takes Astronex so low there?
I mean, maybe he just doesn't use the cardiac overdrive, wants to hold on to it for a second, then use it to engage.
Perhaps. Fortunate to get away though, and if that is true, then you've got to feel pretty good about that exchange. Pirates in Pajamas haven't been able to cap the point, so you don't lose anything for holding on to that cooldown there. Strider needs a while to get topped up here, but won't have that space. Nicely done. Astronex and Dreamland, they take a face full of damage early, they disengage, they get a lot of ult charge from healing, and then they come back behind that cardiac overdrive. Beautiful neutral fight.
Yes, Strider ends up popping the cardiac overdrive. He's just so low at the time that, like, there's not enough time to put down any damage to keep himself alive. And they back out Dreamland, like you mentioned. They get topped up. They build up some other ultimates. They don't even really need them here. So we'll see. This will be Chime playing on the outside. EMP's going to connect with just about everybody.
Perfect. Get the virus hit as well. Astronex times the charge. Nothing you can do if you're Pirates in Pajamas, and this is a snowbally map. You don't even need a May to make this extremely hard to get back into for a team that is behind. Pirates in Pajamas will be given an opportunity to build and bank some of these ultimates. It's all about the EMP to open this up.
Yeah, Magic Maple in the last fight did actually dodge that EMP, just didn't have the sound barrier. Could have been a little bit different. This will be a Divinity using Coalescence, wanting to go early. Anio and Crew doing a nice job, though, backing out, not having to use that ultimate early.
Okay, that's an EMP coming out in response. It doesn't stop the coal, it doesn't stop the beat either. Dreamland have so much durability now. They're striking off every bit of damage thrown at them. Can see why Magic Maple has to go for a beat of their own here. Stone gets knocked into a position to actually be more impactful, taking Chime down, but that is it really. This round has only had Dreamland's name over it.
Yeah, they give up the point a little bit, but still, it seems like they have a great idea of when to, like, disengage and then when to then, you know, up the tempo. It looks like the EMP comes through from Chronic when Astronex comes right back in and makes a play for the point. But because you use that EMP, you know, maybe on the Maga, you don't connect with both supports.
Cage fight now. Strider has to accept his fate. He's here for the long time. Stone going to be brought down. There were no Reaper here, no pressure on Strider. Watch that Malga health bar. It ain't moving. It ain't moving for nothing. Eventually going to be brought down here, but again...
What are you supposed to do there, right? You have to make a play for the boy. You have to speed in. You just get caught like 3 players in a cage fight.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like you lose your Reaper, so you have no way to pressure Astronex.
He's gonna come around the corner. Like if they EMP this corner, he's gonna come down with a huge slam.
This is elementary stuff here. You walk into ults every single time you try and reconnect. Strider's at least able to find the one, but that is it. A very average showing there for Pirates in Pajamas in Control Center in this metagame. When it's an EMP or a Death Blossom you run into, every time you try and re-engage coming off spawn, it's really hard to fight back from that disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, it is brutal. You see what kind of getting an ultimate advantage looks like here. Where they get an advantage, does Dreamland, and they do not look back. I mean, that was just a clean sweep, pretty much. The only percentage that we saw Pirates in Pajamas get was when they basically just backed off of the point for just a little bit, just to go back and re-engage.
I mean, I don't know. That map's brutal. The chokes here, like, you don't have any choice. You are getting EMP'd. You actually have no choice. You can't stop it. You can't play around it, really. You just kind of have to commit and hope that the connection isn't good and you can recover in time. That was a rude awakening, though, for Pirates in Pajamas after a really strong first round. Time to bounce back.
So both teams here just poking inside of the neutral. Nobody wants to make a play for the point just yet. It feels like once somebody rotates back towards that other side, somebody will come right through the front. So I don't think anybody wants to give up that position.
Pirates make the first move. They want to cap this point here, put some pressure down. But is this an advantageous spot for them to be? It doesn't feel like it is. Astronex comes bounding through the doorway, and yep, that's going to force a fade. There's no way Divinity survives that fall if they don't use that mobility to get out. And while they're absent, the rest of their team are devoured.
Yeah, it feels like Dreamland has a really good sense of, when to disengage, when they have the advantage, and when to push. Pirates and Pajamas, they get control of the point for just a brief period of time, but Dreamland sees an opening, with Ryan getting that first pick. Now it'll be with both EMPs on the field. How these teams play around them is Chime going to be forced to use that translocate. Has to back up a little bit.
Or tried to cloak away. Going to go for the EMP instead, but hit none of the supports with it. Will that hurt them? Chronic? Finding a great spot there. After popping that EMP of their own, Sound Barrier from Magic Maple isn't enough. And my God, what is going to be enough for Pirates in Pajamas? Whenever they forced that from Chime, It looked like they had good pressure on the Sombra. Still get absolutely rolled in that fight.
Watching Chime's POV, you're like, how are you live? It's like EMPs going off, the sound barrier there from Magic Maple trying to keep Pirates in Pajamas in it. It's not enough, as Onion just answered the Coalescences. Now Dreamland has a huge advantage.
Here's that call. Chime a little low once more to start the fight. Ryan is waiting. Needs to chunk them down. Cardiac Overdrive is in effect. No point going for a Blossom there. Now might be more advisable, but they are in a double cage here. And the later Blossom from Stone seems to be a little bit more devastating. Sees the Sombra of Chime go past. Chime probably not inclined to use an EMP there. Would rather stall as Dreamland have a healthy lead as it is.
Yeah, I think these supports at the end here, just trying to extend it as long as possible. Crazy fight, double cage fight, plus double Death Blossom used there during that one. It's Dreamland, probably a window here. Well, actually, it's going to be an EMP for both sides, so we're kind of back at square one, so to speak. The thing is Magic Maple doing a fantastic job building up that sound barrier, and it's going to be Chronic and Co going early, and that should end that one.
I think Chronic sees Chime translocate out. Realizes that's the chance to make sure you catch at least the enemy Sombra inside that ability. Either way, that's really good. That is very cheaply won. Just the one EMP? Yes, you absolutely take those. Those one old fight wins are at a premium.
And I guess now you feel like you have sound barrier to potentially deal with the EMP that's coming on the other side. This is about Magic Maple dodging this EMP coming through.
He does. And the beat comes in. It's beautiful. Now you need some follow-up. Chronic over the edge, though. Grape's able to do more than just send this team careening into Pirates in Pajamas. Magic Maple can't do more there.
No, I mean, you dodge the EMP. you drop a good beat, it's just not enough. As I think that's where you see, Onion with a great use of the Coalescence. I think that's where you see like Moira win out versus like playing a Kariko in these types of comps. Like just the ease of use of the Coalescence and just the value, you get value out of it almost every single time, no matter what.
90% counting for Dreamland here on the precipice of taking Lijiang. Stone TP to the back of the point. Unclear if they were already detected. Ryan takes a licking from the Hellfire shotguns there initially. Grapes is waiting on a beat here. This is scary stuff. You got a lot of low health teammates and need to time this while you're on the aggressive, not while you're disengaging, but you can't afford to lose anyone either. Here we go. Chronic gonna be getting out of dodge there, and the EMP is acceptable. 2 with the Death Blossom down, and Stone is able to follow it up. And Pirates in Pajamas have a real chance now.
Yeah, I really love the way that Dreamland has played this one. I mean, maybe they thought that there was like no EMP on the other side or something, but they use that sound barrier. They just walk on in. And it's a huge EMP from Chronic. I mean, that could end up sealing the deal.
Boop, it's there. Chime, can't touch. EMP comes out, but who's going to be there to follow it up? Put up the Death Blossom for Ryan. Only gets one. And Dreamland have let this one slip through their fingers. My goodness. Pirates in Pajamas, that is definitely taking victory from the jaws of defeat.
Oh, I mean, that one looked like it was going to be Dreamland's to win. They were going to go up 1-0, and then, they disengaged. I would have loved to see them maybe use the beat a little bit earlier. It looks like they disengaged, let everybody get healed up, and then they were going to go back in with the beat, and maybe they didn't expect that the EMP was on the other side, because they walked right into it. I mean, I think there was a cage fight in there as well, and then they ended up with the EMP. And man, that is a tough one to lose there if you're Dreamland.
Yeah, it really hurts. Dreamland, had a huge bank of ultimates coming into that last fight as well. Reluctant maybe to commit some of them at crucial junctures in that engagement. We see both Lucios really trying to set up the best beats possible. They don't seem to really have much of an impact when needed against some of this Wombo, especially not the EMP, but also like these Death Blossoms come in a little after the beat gets popped. It's pretty devastating stuff here. Both Lucios looking generally very good over the course of the series, but oh man, that's so brutal for Dreamland.
It's really difficult. I mean, you see just like, you think somebody's gonna live. Maybe there's enough healing with like a Moira and cardiac overdrive, and then all of a sudden like a Reaper just 2-shots them, right? Like I think it's really difficult to gauge, especially when whether you use or hold on to those support ults.
Here it is, the course of moments from Garden here. A lot of focus on the Reapers. Quite many of these fights had EMPs from both Sombra's Chronic and Chime staying in sync for much of the map. This second map was a non-game, genuinely. Once Dreamland had control and were forcing Pirates in Pajamas to play through the choke, it was either a Death Blossom or one of these, an EMP. They walked straight into it, and you don't have a choice. You cannot get to the point in any other way, really, unless you go around the left-hand side, which forces you into multiple chokes as opposed to just that one there at the opening. This is the start of that last round. I mean, you see the trading. The Strider is so low here. There's a Fade Force straight away by Grapes. These are all great looks. This is the cheapest fight win I've ever seen in this meta. One EMP to rule them all. This is what puts Pirates in Pajamas in a position to actually take this away.
Yeah, and here's towards the end, you were mentioning those boobs, Magic 8-Ball knocks, especially the Doomfist. I mean, a huge target there. Could have gotten on the point, power block, just cause all types of chaos, get that boop, prevent the Doom from even getting a touch.
Right, generally, we have a game on our hands now. This looks like a very closely matched game, and in this case, as always, the transitive property proves to be true and factual and immutable. Because both of these teams dropped one map. Never mind. The point is, they're evenly matched. The first map has definitely illustrated that to us, and what better place to take teams that are close together in ability than the old classic King's Row for our second map.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see the same exact things. I think with Sombra, it's obviously way different than how Sombra's been in the past, with some of the changes here in Overwatch 2. You can't play as, stealthy all the time, just kind of lurking around. You have to be a little bit more proactive in the fight, but EMP is still the same thing, right? It's still extremely impactful, especially EMP plus speed, and then now Maga has this uninterruptible slam that becomes devastating. Sombra becomes very good.
Yeah, again, much like Accretion, it has that stun component, the half a second-ish of stun, which interrupts abilities too. So your Death Blossom, for example, can be turned off by that. There are a couple, obviously, maybe it's unless you're Jonathan Reinforced Larson, you're probably not charging into a ulting Reaper with a tank. But it worked for him on a couple of key occasions, and it can work if you can get it set up properly here with Malga. That interruption is really devastating for your opponents. If you get multiple people close to the epicenter of that slam, yeah, you're going to feel it in the morning, no doubt about it. On the attack, it'll be Dreamland here, seething, positively molding after the result of that first map. It's time to regain some hair, time to regain some points.
Yeah, and I feel like they need an awesome start, right? I think if you don't have a great start here, you fall behind 2-0. We've seen a lot of 3 Overwatch. I think this is a huge, offense here for Dreamland.
High ground being maintained here for Pirates in Pajamas, but at some point there has to be a contest. First is Made Ball, then the entirety of Pirates in Pajamas set up. Now they will cede the high ground to the attackers. Dreamland, it's a more roundabout way of doing it. But they do pull the attackers, the defenders down, excuse me. Now they get to contest on even footing. This is the whole point of this whole do-si-do positionally. Astronex, though, wow, gets moved. He is so low.
700 HP to 100 in like a second, it feels like, as Dreamland takes that large chunk of damage. You see Astronex still so low.
And there it is, Chime brought down. It's Stone that gets in there. Magic Maple as well, just firing into that massive play. He's getting some pretty decent damage on the Lucio. Strange to say, but Pirates in Pajamas, they get the fight they wanted, right? First they start on the high ground, they drop to the low, they reposition again to make sure they are on even footing and can also regain that defensive position. So they're forcing Dreamland inside that hotel, which is a great place to be if you're a Reaper.
There has to be a way to keep, Astronex's HP a little bit higher, earlier in the fight. Feels like taking tons of damage early on, and it's a clear condition for when Pirates in Pajamas should go big EMP here.
Yeah, and there's the charge as well. Geronimo says Strider. You see beelines for Astronex's position. This is an odd time to EMP, I'll admit. You have a sound barrier active and you've lost a player. Pirates in Pajamas will disengage at the very least here. But Dreamland haven't already advanced their overall gameplay with the use of that ability. They've just given themselves some time.
As they rotate around, Cardiac Overdrive for both teams. It's actually going to be Strider end up the cage fight here. Going to connect with, looks like 2 players, maybe 3, but yeah, it's going to be Pirates in Pajamas winning yet another fight here, Mitch. And Chronic puts himself further ahead in terms of EMP, so now you can start cycling these.
I mean, it wouldn't be that different to what we saw on Lijiang Tower Control Center. In fairness, Pirates in Pajamas use a lot of those key ultimates, but Dreamland are spending support ultimates in losing fights. They're not able to maintain them. They're not able to carry them over. It's hard for them to tell if they're in a winning fight or not until after they've already committed those abilities. Cage fight could have value here. But again, the defenders play the high ground for now. Here's the drop. There's the cage fight. Stone opts to jump into that, and it's going to be destroyed, by the EMP, Matt. Great call. Chronic, though, takes a little too much damage. It's traded back, though. Astronex has fallen. Astronex, the absolute locus of this composition for Dreamland, who they absolutely need to be standing. And now, Dreamland will scatter.
Yeah, as they're trying to stagger out the supports, Bonnie and trying to make it out. Oh, it just gets caught at the choke, and looks like Grape's going to be able to make it out with their life. So you'll end up holding on to that Lucio, but man, this next fight feels like the last chance for Dreamland. EMP, double support ult, at least, the coalescence, but I think that maybe you end up getting the beat here later on.
But the attackers need the high ground first, so they still need to opt into this entire exchange. That EMP...
Oh, it only gets 2.
Oh, buddy. Beat only covers 4, though, in fairness, but Stone gets rid of Chime. Now the boop as well, you start to separate the attackers. Cole was fine, but it's not enough if it's just Alien doing the healing for Astronex. This is a disaster.
And the EMP only gets 2, and then Strider just walks around the corner, and everybody's lined up there with a huge slam value. And I mean, now it's brutal, right? You're gonna have a Echo Tracer here just to maybe get back to the point, try and get a touch.
Strider can cage whoever here. Maybe probably just Astronex off the point, holding it. Astronex jumping away, Cardiac Overdrive here for the defenders, and there's no touch. Well, that's par for the course with how this map has gone so far. Dreamland, only 40% rather, of capture progress on A.
It's not great.
It's not great. Once again, truly incredibly put.
It's not. Look, I said they needed a really good start on offense. You don't want to fall behind 2-0. Momentum, a lot of times in these series, right? Especially, I think momentum when you're playing like the mirror matchup as well. Like when you're constantly like losing the mirror, I feel like it hurts like even more than just kind of like, you know, maybe there's a different variation or a twist on it. Like when you're just losing the mirror, it just feels brutal. And I think that, you know, with the way that offense went, not just it feels like they couldn't really get anything going. I think you lose so much health on the Maka early on. It's just such a clear, like, you know, when you're kind of like trading HP back and forth, right, and there's a little bit of back and forth going on in terms of like damage trade, it becomes a little bit harder to judge like when we should go and when we should like retreat. Like when Astronex goes down to like, you know, 30% HP off the rip and Strider's at like 75, it's pretty clear on when it's time to go, right? For Pirates and Pajamas, there's not really a lot they have to kind of like figure out.
Attackers incoming.
Just a sleep dart from Divinity there, trying the honor on for a moment, remembering the good old days. You called that old cycle pretty quickly, Matt. Sort of the Death Blossom and the EMP. That was what Pirates and Pajamas were able to put together because they were allowed to ease into that defensive half. Okay, Dreamland actually dispersed themselves a lot more than you think here. Don't just play so passively. They're trying to take a bit of space on this high ground.
Well, look at the Maka's
there it is
HP.
again.
One's at 100 and the other's like dead, right? It's just gotta figure out a way to kind of keep Astronex up.
Is that less like cardiac overdrive value? Is that less healing?
I mean, maybe, but like, also you see, even with this situation, Dreamland's still able to hold on. I mean, that's huge. You lose your tank and you're still able to hold on in this type of scenario. I mean, that's massive. But yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to figure that out.
Try and build EMP as well. Gonna have to be an early one here to get max value. Astronex, of course, is back after that early and ignoble exit from the first fight. EMP are here as well for Grapes to work with, so Dreamland basically built everything they need to start to hold on for consecutive engagements. And again, here's that EMP to start the fight. That's 3 players, both supports though. Can't really complain about that too much. I like an early EMP. Pirates and Pajamas have a moment though here. Maybe they need to regroup to get back through the choke. Okay.
Yeah, I think you let Divinity get some coalescence charge off of this, right? Maybe even build up towards Sound Barrier, right? You could like match Sound Barrier on the engage, and then Chronic ends up using the EMP, takes away the one from Dreamland. Like that could be a possibility here.
Just one tick, remember, and a bit needed.
Dreamland also forced to get onto the point, right? So you're kind of like at an inherent disadvantage, like coming down into this EMP.
Yeah, Chronic hoping to be the cactus that breaks their fall. Astronex is toast, absolutely burnt. There's the Death Blossom. I like that from Strider, kind of forcing Ryan away, and that'll do it. That's enough to win the second map here for Pirates in Pajamas. I like the overrun to knock the Ulting Reaper away, you see? You could do that.
It's also really difficult because, I mean, look, they have to drop down into a EMP on the other side. Or what, just don't contest and just give up the point? I mean, it's a really difficult situation that Dreamland put them in. But Pirates in Pajamas, really close map number 1. A dominant performance in map number 2. It feels like all the momentum sits on their side now.
Feels like the wind out of Dreamland sails after what happened at the end of map number 1. And now in order to be competitive here, it's reverse sweep or bust.
Like Dreamland could have won map number 1. Like they had like what, 98% there, like 99, and then it kind of like flips and turns. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a wild kind of showing from map 1 to map 2.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, and you don't have a chance to fix it. And now you've also just got full held on offense on King's Row of all maps. Yeah. It's a cocktail of the worst possible circumstances for, you know, your mental strength here. Here's that cage fight, of course, that sets up a really comfortable Death Blossom. You'll note that even the Sound Barrier was in play. It's just not enough. Sometimes it just isn't here. Maple, I think, yeah, able to dodge the EMP and just ghost again. The EMP was not good, unfortunately, from Chime. They cannot get purchased. It's only a couple people that are really affected by it. And then all of a sudden, you're very split. Dreamland are playing over multiple of those rooftops and platforms. And it's just a coalescence from Annie and trying to keep Astronex alive. It's just not enough.
Yeah, and what I worry about for Dreamland, like as we go into push, right, is that like push is even like less forgiving. Yeah, I see here at the end, right? It's cage fight that you're jumping into with an EMP on the other side. Push is so unforgiving that like you lose like a fight or two, and the other team starts snowballing with some of these ults with the way things are going. You can't exactly like how, you know, in some push maps in the past, games in the past, where you would want to like, okay, we have to make up this huge distance, or you can like throw away some ultimates, you know, and try and like win fights. The other team can save them. If the other team saves some ultimates and you overinvest, you're kind of dead that next fight. Like There's really no shot. So it's even more punishing, I feel like.
Yeah, when teams are evenly matched, right, we have to look at old economy. In that map, you know, Pirates in Pajamas able to put like a pretty nice ult cycle together where they would never really short-handed in abilities that single-handedly could win fights, let alone when combined with, you know, support ultimates or cage fight or anything like that here. So they got rolling. This composition can be a little bit snowballing in many cases, especially when the Dreamland were committing a lot of ultimates into those losing fights as well. Sometimes they were committing more. They just weren't able to get value out of them because they like were playing from the high ground. They had a dodgy EMP. They had the coal to try and fix that issue. Didn't work either.
Yeah, I think you're looking at EMP. I think you're also looking at, you know, maybe like you're losing so much health on the Maga. Maybe it's like the way they're using Cardiac Overdrive, or like the way they're trying to play around it. Because
we're trying to figure out why Astronex is like getting chunked so much early in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, you lose like 30 to 40% of your tank's HP at the start, and you're in a really rough spot. So this is Lukewarm here coming in. So we'll have a sub here. So Chronic out, Lukewarm in. So Chronic's been that Sombra player the entire time. So maybe a little bit of a change up here on New Queen Street. Could potentially see like Sojourn. Yeah, like Reaper Sojourn possibility.
Reaper Sojourn seems fine. You still have good pressure on the Mauga, the inevitable Mauga. Run from it as much as you like. He will come for you. Last chance here for Dreamland to have a crack here at the main event. This is an elimination match, our last of the weekend. MIP being first to 3 means it must be a reverse sweep for Dreamland to advance. New Queen Street again, the kind of map where we have seen things blow out pretty seriously when a team starts to put together a nice little ult cycle.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, extremely important that Dreamland gets off to a good start here. You know, a fast fight in terms of, I know, Pirates in Pajamas in their favor. You're looking at maybe the first checkpoint, right? With how New Queen Street is. I think you're in lots of trouble. So have to get off to a good start.
Let's have a look at these comps here. Sojourn looks like you might have been on the right track there. And I'm happy with the Tracer. Very powerful on this map and really can be quite problematic to backlines that lack mobility of their own here. Also to even Sojourn, if she blows that power slide early. Chime wants to stay on the Sombra here. Can you get nearly as much value and as much coverage with that ability? We're going to find out either way. Also, Pulse Bomb, a little bit overlooked here. That burst damage is really important against this Mauga.
Yeah, both teams drop the Moira as well. So you're not playing as Death Ball. You have that Sojourn off and an off angle, need to provide some healing. So play the Karika, who can do that a little bit easier. Is you'd see it on the top of the health bars that Chime is getting a little bit low.
It's great pressure from Magic Maple, Matt. Magic Maple is just shooting at Chime only, who's trying to play at mid-range and farm ult. Forcing like a translocator. Magic Maple actually goes in for the kill. That was some great Lucio play in the neutral there.
Well, that's also Sombra, like, would be way harder in the past to, like, track down. You can do, like, in order for her to go stealth, has to be completely out of the fight for long periods, which you can't exactly do when you're fighting for that high ground position there.
Yeah, maybe a liability as time goes on. That Sombra just not having the same degree of flexibility as the Tracer does to be in and out. You're either in or out as Sombra. High ground really being held onto. You see Divinity getting called upstairs to keep Lukewarm topped up. Coming off the bench, hopefully they're at least their namesake to try and close out the series for these Pirates. Another Magic Maple magic moment. Chime falls once more. The Sombra is getting absolutely exploited.
I mean, that might be a huge pick, though, that Ryan gets there on a stone, because I was going to say another pick there. Like, if Pirates in Pajamas pushes up, you're going to end up getting that first checkpoint, which would have been brutal. I think Dreamland, with obviously the player advantage here, going to have the capability of holding.
This is already too much, though. Dreamland are giving up way too much for free. Lukewarm might be in a position here to get a big overclock. Ryan's going for it. Not exactly a target-rich environment, though. Here it is. Lukewarm's now Okay, Maple can't ult right now. Can Lukewarm stay alive? In the meantime, no. Great EMP for Chime. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Or served to Lukewarm.
I know, I think that's where you're going to get higher value with like EMP rather than Pulse Bomb, is the EMP there is huge. Just Magic 8 Ball is not able to get a sound barrier off there, which would have most certainly helped save lots of players on Pirates and Pajamas, but maybe now it gives the ability for, you know, Pirates and Pajamas to get aggressive with that sound barrier.
Stone still looking to see this Tracer have impact. Attempt a Pulse Bomb in a tube there, it's no good. Chime is stuck though, and you see Astronex trying to body block for the Sombra, but she's too easy to carve out of the corner for Pip. And now we're heading back the other way. 52 plays 21 and a convincing fight win for Pirates with only having to spend the cage fight.
And look at this, even just the cage fight, right? Kitsune Rush and Sound Barrier still available here for Pirates and Pajamas. Chime actually going to go away from the Sombra and go over to the Symmetra here. So looking to, you know, really win these 50-50 fights.
Against Tracer on God? He's going for it.
Astronex really low, has to back out, but that's going to give them the checkpoint.
Now, without even having to fully win the fight outright, you still have a sound barrier as well. Magic Mabel is extremely composed here. Their protocols for how they use support ultimates, Pirates, have been exemplary today.
And I mean, right there, everybody packed in the corner, everybody weak. Oh, you know, insult to injury, they drop a sound barrier on top, right, to go finish the tank. And this is what he's talking about. Now this is going to become almost like it's going to be so difficult for Dreamland to get control of the bot and push it this distance again.
Stone is hunting. I know that one more clip from these pulse pistols probably means a pulse bomb. Yeah, that's simple math.
That's Suzu.
Oh, the stick is good, Suzu. Sound barrier instead saves Ryan's life. A sliver of health remaining. Great response from Grapes.
But still, I mean, look at the value. Some damage from Stone with the pulse bomb gets out Suzu and the sound barrier there.
Yeah, and they don't even win the fight after that because Pip just disengaged and Dreamland want the fight so badly. The trade here, losing Chime. Even without Chime, Strider still falls. So Dreamland at least have an opportunity to stabilize, but they've given him 81 meters. 81. Oh.
Secure and ready to move.
I mean, now, I mean, what? You're constantly walking into high ground, probably 2 fights to get checkpoint, and then another fight or 2 potentially to move after that. You're going to have to be perfect, basically 3-4 fights in a row here for Dreamland. You will be coming up on that sim wall we saw with Hydron. I know how strong that was earlier, so maybe that's a huge ultimate here. But any time that you just dwindle off the clock here for Pirates and Pajamas, like midfield, you're totally okay with.
Overclock from this position could be big. Dreamland definitely need to make a power play here. Pirates are back. They're looking to pressure down this Margle once more. Divinity maybe getting a little too close to the sun there, and the TP gets him upstairs. Beautiful. Ryan now gets to rotate into the fight, and with the Symmetra wall, he can be that much more aggressive in taking some of these shots. Mabel lucky not to fall to that first rail. It'll be the second that gets him though.
Okay, so this is a fight when they need it, right? I know sometime off the clock, like 30-40 seconds or so, but still, they needed to get the bot kind of around this corner, give themselves now another fight to potentially get checkpoint. And you're in a pretty decent spot, right? And you're going to have double support ult plus cage fight for this fight that will, you know, most certainly happen on the checkpoint.
Last time Stone went for a pulse bomb. He got sound barriered off. Massive value for that one as he stuck it on the Sojourn. This time, not too shabby. It's on Chime. And the sound barrier wasn't enough this time to save the Symmetra. Again, credit to Grapes for having that presence of mind. And it wasn't enough there. 4v4 for the time being. Astronex being forced back for now. There's the charge. Strider more than happy to stand their ground against the higher health Malga for now. Need to get lukewarm in this fight. Looks like Strider actually going to give some ground here. Even though there was such a good pulse bomb, Pirates don't really feel like they can push ahead.
And they catch Ryan inside of the cage fight. He just pushes up a little bit too far. Maybe they think they can actually get rid of the Malga, and it's a beautiful bait there from Strider and Pirates in Pajamas as they end up baiting that Sojourn out. And guess what? All that progress you just got for Dreamland pretty much goes for nothing here as the bot's going to go all the way back to the other side of the map.
Time's done. Switching off the sim here, it's just too dangerous in that front line. You either die randomly to railguns, or you get a pulse bomb stuck to you. Stone, an absolute menace here, forcing that switch. And now we have the Tracer Sombra for both teams. We are mirrored once more.
Ooh, overclock early here for Ryan. I think he actually puts a shot into Magic Maple. Oh, yeah, and then just goes for the hunt. Nice shots here.
Worried a little bit that there was an overextension here from Ryan, but they understand just how much of a risk they're taking. And the commitment was worth it. Now we're headed back once more. 2 minutes 30.
Yeah.
Very much a pendulous exchange between these rosters. Okay, early Kitsune Rush. They're going to go for it here. Do they have Maple in the fight? Yes. There towards the front line. Now Railgun from Lukewarm. They're going for it. Anian doing well. She's able to avoid the scrutiny of Lukewarm for the time being, but with Astronex falling, and with the bot actually being in Dreamland's territory, this is a bit frightening.
Yeah, I mean, look, now Lukewarm and Co. finish off some of these fights. The fight earlier, though, Ryan actually lands a railgun shot, not an ultimate on the Magic 8-Ball, and then he actually pops the ultimate. That's like kind of their saying like, hey, we have the Lucio weak, let's go, let's attack. This previous fight, though, it's actually a Kitsune rush, gets them around the corner, and then Lukewarm with the overclock, which actually turns the tides for Pirates in Pajamas. And look at this, they just get the bot right back that checkpoint, and they just run away.
This might be
they feel like they don't need to move it.
Yeah, this is probably Dreamland's last best chance for the round. Nice of them to actually, you know, prevent Pirates from contesting at any point with that peak on the Kiriko. But it doesn't get much better than this for Dreamland in terms of ults. They're running out of time. This has to be when the Gambit comes into play.
Yeah, and there's no game-winning ult on the other side. It's not like there's an EMP that they have to walk into, right? This will be Kitsune Rush.
They're out of there.
Cardiac Overdrive used by Strider as he runs away.
Credit to them, they actually do avoid the rush, but in comes Chime. No, yeah, Suzu, that stick. So no pulse bomb connection here, but Chime is still nicely played. Here come Pip, though. They're coming back for another engagement. It's going to be a cage match set down by Astronex. Going to be mirrored on both sides. The sound barrier coming out from both of these teams now, but Astronex is brought down. Stone has the damage. They have the critical mass to blow through the Malga of Dreamland, and Lukewarm is going to add some railguns to the mix. Quite the hot pot, I've got to say. And with 33 seconds to play, Dreamland have spent those big ultimates. That entire load is gone. And we'll have to rely on nothing but the overclock.
Yeah, it's a double cage fight like you had mentioned. I know support ults used galore on both sides. It's actually a pulse bomb that comes in from Stone onto Astronex, and that's what chunks down that Maga, allows them to finish it off.
10 seconds left. Cordial greeting offered by Astronex. Does Dreamland know this is their last chance to even be thinking about a reverse sweep possibility? It has to happen here. Divinity's just been able to build a Kitsune rush up and keep an eye out for the overclock. It comes in. First shot hits Strider hard. He's going to take a sidebar on those stairs and be healed up. Kitsune rush now comes out from Divinity, and we have a slight disengage from Dreamland. They back up. Astronex burning a little bit. Chime picked off. How? They found Chime. Maybe they're trying to go in for an assassination, but the Tracer is now down, and Astronex doesn't last much longer. Strider and Co. blow once more through the Malga, and they blow Dreamland's chances to smithereens. Pirates in Pajamas are advancing to the main event.
Yeah, and you could see there at the end, right? They disengaged a little bit, Pirates in Pajamas, and then Maga cardiac arrest with Lukewarm coming from the high ground.
You did it.
You got me. Cardiac overdrive. He comes down from the high ground with that Sojourn. And they just use the Suzu on top of the Maga, like not even for any particular reason, just to give him that brief moment of just invulnerability, just keep him alive, give him a little bit of extra healing and whatnot, and he becomes unkillable moving on through there.
Dominant performance from the Pirates in Pajamas, which is really good for them because they're going to face some tough obstacles heading into the main event. It's not going to be an easy road, so it's good to see them having a good grasp on the current meta, at least the NA version of it. I guess we're believing in the Maga over here.
No Cope Tsunami.
Yeah.
This is the meta.
I'm not. It's not a tsunami. It's a mild. It's a mild rain. Maybe the EU soul in me is just not going to give up on everything that isn't Maga. Anyway, let's take a look at some match highlights and point out some of the players which stood out in this series.
I think Chronic Sombra really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Stone also has a tough job here. Again, like it's pretty volatile playing the front lines. You want to pressure the Malga down, but if the enemy Reaper draws a beat on you and hits you once or twice, all of a sudden, like, you have to either Wraith walk away or you die. You just die. So again, the Sombra interplay I thought on Lijiang was really good. This was like a very competitive map. King's Row was not.
I have to say, we have some metas where, you know, in the past, where I think it would probably be like pretty difficult or like frustrating potentially for some players. If you are like the lower health in Maga and the other team is speeding into you with, you know, cardiac overdrive in the Reaper, I'd be like, what are you even supposed to do, right? No, I mean, that's got to be tough to play against.
I mean, here, again, like, you have to drop down on the EMP. We did see a couple unsuccessful attempts for Pirates to sort of take this point here. And, you know, it's kind of accepted right now, like this sort of flowchart that plays out where the attackers try and get the high ground, the defenders sort of rotate, you know, down. They end up, you know, going around in circles a little bit here. This last map, like, again, started off pretty competitively. We saw some moments, you know, in which Astronex is able to be kept alive and really win those neutral fights out. Magic Maple really impressed me. A couple of individual moments, like wins out in the neutral, just like blows up a Sombra at the start of the game, and that for me sets the tone. The Tracer here is pretty powerful. Like that burst damage from Pulse Bomb, even though it got nerfed quite significantly from what it used to be back in the day, still really important. That healing over time that the Moira, the Malga composition, the Lucio gives you, you need to find ways to chunk through that. That's why some teams are trying to Genji as well. Great stuff from Stone here. The Tracer switch also, big difference maker.
Absolutely. Stone deservedly getting that player of the match honor with the performance on that Tracer, on that Reaper. So pivotal to winning out so many of those files. Always at the right fights, always at the right place at the right time. Really, really played.
Yeah, I mean, just putting tons of pressure on, you know, Astronex the entire series, right? You know, every time that Dreamland wanted to push up, you know, get into Pirates and Pajamas faces, they had to deal with Stone's Reaper at the forefront.
And again, yeah, like we talk about the switch to the Tracer, right? There's like he sticks a pulse on Ryan, it's a Suzu, right? So even there's a lot of defensive resources that are getting teased out even by like these pulse bombs and aggressive plays from Stone. So I think it's really hard to play the Reaper right now. It just seems volatile. So credit to Stone for navigating what could be a tough situation. And you know, I do want to ask him in a moment just sort of how that flowchart works and how you find success in like the mirror when you're on Reaper.
Well, you know what? You have a chance to do just that because Stone is actually standing by for an interview. I know, this came out of nowhere. Stone, congrats, my dude, on that W. Really, really fantastic performance from you and the entire squad.
Thank you.
Right, so Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, okay,
ask some questions.
I guess obviously we see a lot of like the Reaper mirror in these Malga comps, like with Sombra as well. What we're noticing a lot in this matchup is that like the enemy Malga is always like 10% HP at the start of these fights. Like you're chunking them down really effectively. Some of that is your job, I assume, but also share with Strider and the rest of your team. How are you guys winning in the neutral? And how are you sort of starting so many of these fights with like a huge HP advantage on your Malga?
Yeah, that's it's definitely like a team strategy thing where it's like we want to force out that shout early, and so it's just a lot of coordination, like making sure we're swinging at the right time and all focusing down the Maga.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Oh yeah, go say sorry.
Sorry, Matt. There was very limited time, obviously, to practice those kind of plays and also this composition. Was it easy for you and the squad to find your footing in this meta?
I think we got it pretty quick. We were practicing like since Friday, so definitely not much time from our first match. But Strider's a really good Maga. Chronic's a great Sombra. So yeah, I think we kind of had an advantage for that.
With this meta right now, obviously, still, you know, there's still variations of this being played. Is there anything you guys feel you need to change, maybe going into the main event, or anything you'd want to add? Maybe it's like some of the Symmetra variations of this, or how you guys feel and go to the main event?
I would love to be able to. The sim isn't exactly our thing right now. If we could, then yeah, that'd be great. But I don't know. We'll just kind of have to see how the next week of practice goes. For sure.
Right on. Yeah, you do have a few days before you're heading into your upper bracket quarterfinals matches. Timeless will be your first opponent. Any thoughts on that team? Anything you saw that piqued your interest?
They're good. They're definitely good. I think we can beat them.
That's good. I'd love for you to think that, and I hope that you get to show. I hope you get to show that confidently on the server when it's time to shine. We can't wait to see more of you in the squad next week. For now, rest well and good luck in practicing.
Peace.
All right, thank you.